प्यासी धरती पे वो ओस की बूंद है, जिंदगी के हर दर्द में दवा की घूंट है। प्यासी धरती पे वो ओस की बूंद है, जिंदगी के हर दर्द में दवा की घूंट है। साई माँ, साई माँ, साई माँ, साई माँ। उलझे रस्तों में जो कभी भटके तो अंधियारों में वो दिया का नूर है। दिलों में हमारे वही प्यार तेरा, धड़कन बन गूंजता ये जरूर है। साई माँ, साई माँ, साई माँ, साई माँ। मन को मिला सुकून, देखा जो हमने तुमको, एक चाह मन में आई, हम रोज देखे तुमको। मुस्कुराहटों ने तेरी हम में लाया एक फितूर है। दिलों में हमारे वही प्यार तेरा, धड़कन बन गूंजता ये जरूर है। साई माँ, साई माँ, साई माँ, साई माँ। నీ మాటలకై వేచి ఉన్నాము, నీ వీక్షణకై మేము తపిస్తున్నాము। నీ మాటలకై వేచి ఉన్నాము, నీ వీక్షణకై మేము తపిస్తున్నాము। మా ఆలోచనలో, మా పలుకులలో, మా చేతలలో, మా శ్వాసలో, ఆనందములో, పెను బాధలలో, తల్లివై, తండ్రివై, సఖుడవై, దైవమై, మా హృదయములో ప్రేమ జ్యోతివై వెలుగొందుమా। హృదయవాసివై నడిపించుమా, హృదయవాసివై నడిపించుమా। रंग दी हमारी जिंदगी, तेरे दर पे जो हम हैं आ गए। खुशियों की घटा है छा गई,
Om. 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 Om Gananam Tva Ganapati-gum Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashunvannuti-Visseedasadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Virvajinivati
दीनामवित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नमो तस्सै भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्दस्स बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि अशेमो वहिष्ठेमस्ति उष्टास्ति उष्टाह्माय ह्यतशाय वहिष्ठाय शेम Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Bismillah Rahman Rahim Bismillah Rahman Rahim Bismillah Rahman Rahim La ilaha illallah, Allah, Allah. La ilaha illallah, Allah, Allah. La ilaha illallah, Allah, Allah. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Salam everyone. Hope you're doing well. Today we have a guest speaker with us. I should not call him guest. He is our very own brother Bala Parasurman. He has, some of you might already know him who have attended Jersey City Science Center, probably already know him very well. For those of you who do not know, I'd like to say a few words about him. Brother Bala lived with us in Jersey City for about 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, and recently moved to Michigan. He is an alumni of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. He did his BCom, Bachelor's in Commerce, from 1994 to 97 in the Brindavan campus, and Master's in Financial Management in the Puttaparthi campus from 98 to 99. Brother Bala lives in Michigan currently with his wife, Sister Vidya. His parents are Mr. G. Parasurman and Mrs. Geeta Parasurman. They live in Bangalore. He also has a sister who lives with her family in Bangalore. He recently wrote a book about the time he spent in Puttaparthi and Vrindavan and about his experiences with Swami. And the title of the book is My Loving Swami. It's a two-part book, which is a very interesting read. And the book was recently released on the auspicious occasion of Guru Purnima in Prashanthi Nilayam by the managing trustee of Sri Satsang Central Trust, Brother R.J. Ratnakar. So today we have Brother Bala, who's going to be talking about this book, the reason why he wrote this book, and what is inside it. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Brother Bala to talk to us through his experiences about how he came up with the idea of writing the book and what was his intent behind this. Thank you. Brother, go ahead.
Sairam, before Bala Anna just gets started, we will take questions and answers at the end of the talk. If anybody has any questions for Bala Anna that arise as you're listening to his speech, please type them either on the Zoom chat if you're in Zoom or on the YouTube live chat if you're on YouTube. We'll be monitoring both of them. We'll compile the questions and ask them at the end of the talk. Thank you so much. Over to you, Bala Anna.
Sairam, I offer my humble pranams to my dear loving Swami, who's everything. I'm so happy to see you all, though I just want to see only the names and none of your faces, but I surely know all of you on who is available in the online Zoom call today. It's been a long time. Very happy to reconnect with each one of you. I'll start off with a joke because Prasad mentioned that I wrote this book, My Loving Swami. I'll just have this in front of you. I'm sure you can see this. These are 2 volumes, volume 1 and 2. The joke is I did not write these 2 books. Every time I think about this comment whenever somebody says, I wrote this book, then I start smiling and laughing, one to myself, and then also looking at Swami's photo, and he'll very clearly make me understand that he only wrote this book. And the reason why I say this, I'll probably take the next few minutes to take you through the trail of thoughts which happened last year, and how this idea of which originally started with me reconnecting to my source finally ended up with something called as books, called as My Loving Swami. Many of you might know this or may not also, but just for the interest of everyone, last February, I was going through a phase in my life where my professional career was being questioned. It came to a point where 18 years of my service in a company was questioned on my grounds of integrity. And that was the final blow, which any one of us would want to take. So even before I realized what was going on, I had to let go my career. And in a matter of a day or two, I think, right from the time it started, came to a point where I was jobless. And I had the entire 24 hours at my disposal, not knowing what to do, not knowing what was Swami's plan. And I was also hurt, to be very frank with each one of you. I was extremely painful. I was hurt. I did not know what was going on. I did not know why I was going through that particular phase of my life, all in the question of quote unquote integrity. So, all of us being in Swami's children, we can take anything, but when it comes to integrity, that's something which none of us would want to take, because, we all reflect Bhagwan. We all reflect his teachings. Each one of our actions should actually reflect that. So when that was being questioned, it hurt me even more. So February got over, came in March. Vidya and I we had moved from Secaucus to Jersey City. We were still setting up our home there. And I realized I don't have a laptop. I didn't have a cell phone, nothing at all. I was kind of going back to scratch. So it was a new beginning in all different ways, right? And I didn't know what to do. And when I was at such kind of crossroads, this thought occurred is, how am I going to recollect and reconnect to my source? What am I going to do? What is it that we have been blessed with? So I started going down that path, and it did not take me a few minutes to even realize what a blessing I had with me, because I got that opportunity to spend 5 years with Bhagwan, 94 through 99, being his student. So for a rough math, it's 365 times 5 years. Times of darshan, interaction with Bhagwan, blessed to be in Swami's physical fold, learn from him, see him in action, be a witness to his pranks, witness the immense joy and bliss and blessings he kept showering on each one of them around us, and me, myself, family, everyone. So this whole thing was in the capsule, was sitting in my head and in my heart. Nothing was penned down. And when I started thinking about this, I realized that every incident which I had with Bhagwan had so much of a meaning, had so much of a takeaway, which unfortunately I had not made use of it. When Bhagwan gives, he just pours. He doesn't measure himself on the amount of love he pours on people. He just gives. And then it comes to the receiver, to the extent of the container they have, of how much of that love and blessing they can hold on to, right? And how much they can really absorb like a sponge, live it, and experience that joy. And I realized that, my vessel, though it's the same body, my vessel absorbed it, but never really lived it. There were so many teachings, so many, indescribable love and beautiful experiences which Bhagwan gave in a very subtle manner. And this was all sitting there. It was there right in front of my eyes. I realized it, I lived it, I saw it with my own eyes. But I had still not, understood the magnificence of that particular love, the joy. So we started off with saying, okay, let me start penning this down. What do I write? I don't know. How do I start writing? I don't know. Am I an author? Impossible. No way. Am I a reader? No, all of us know. If any person who's an author or who writes, they also end up being voracious readers, because they read a lot, they learn, they try to see what people write and how do you communicate, the language, grammar, etc., everything put together. And I was a complete zero. Very simple words. So every day I start my journey sitting in front of a blank screen, not knowing what to write, not knowing what's the topic, not knowing how am I going to spend the next few hours in that particular day. So I'll just be contemplating on one instance of how Bhagavan spoke to me, what he spoke. What was he trying to tell me at that point? I kept recollecting, going back to that day in which I relived that entire experience, going back to what were the words which Swami mentioned. How did Bhagavan say that? What happened around me? What was happening inside me? And then when I stepped away from that, from me being that subject, I realized, oh my God, Swami was telling this, Swami was giving this message, and I had not taken that into consideration. So some of these days, I used to sit down, hours together with a blank screen. Trust me, hours together with a blank screen, not knowing what to do. I did not have a reference material, nothing at all. Some days I would have just dozed off on the chair. And then Vidya would come and wake me up and say, are you sleeping? I mean, that's the extent to which I used to be like complete blank. And then all of a sudden, things will start flowing. And the next half an hour or 45 minutes, I would have finished a chapter. I don't know how it happened, but I really know that's true because that's what this ended up with. And that's why I keep saying I'm not the author. I'm just an instrument which Bhagavan used to write his story. And this is not my story, by the way. This is Bhagavan's story. I happen to be the beneficiary of who went through that experience in his whole magnificence, his own mission. And then I got that opportunity to be the instrument through which this could be related back to everyone. First to myself, because as I said, when I started reading and writing each one of those incidents, I started picking up the lessons from each one of them. So it was a reminder to myself as to what is it that Bhagavan communicated, what is it that Bhagavan conveyed, and how I should live a life to get that beautiful gold medal from Bhagavan saying that, you know, who you should be, who's my devotee. And this is the journey I went through for almost about 6-7 months last year. Every day I spent at least 8 to 9 hours doing just this, nothing else. I never got any interview calls for my job. You know, what was a normal until then became a new normal from that day onwards, because I was just sitting and writing in the peak of my careers when I was supposed to be in the peak of my career. So one led to the other, and then I was like, okay, how many pages have I written now? And it was 400 pages. And then I recollected the promise I made to Bhagavan that saying, Swami, I would come and serve you from your 90th year onwards. I want to be there in Bhakti. I want to serve you physically. And unfortunately, I never made use of an opportunity. Bhagavan had his own plans of when he decided to shed his human form. But it goes back to, you know, the way I had put this whole thing together, Bhagavan made this happen. So I thought, okay, now that we have this, why don't we share this with others? You know, people who know me also know this. I'm usually a very, what do I say? I can't say I'm an introvert, but to the extent with which, you know, when I have to share my experiences of what I've had with Bhagavan. Earlier when I was in Boston, many people have requested me, and I've spoken once or twice, but not to the extent to which it's been described in these books. So, and then I realized nobody wants to know our story, but everybody wants to know Bhagavan's story. Everybody wants to know from our eyes, what is it that you saw? Which part of that magnificent Lord did you see? Which part made you really realize that he is divine? Which part made you understand that, you know, you are just a speck in this whole universe? Which part made you realize that in front of that beautiful, unfathomable, pure love, how blessed we are among the 8 billion people in this world, to be chosen by the Lord, to be part of his mission, to be chosen by the Lord, to come to him, to carry out the service activities let's not forget even for a second, he doesn't need us. He doesn't need us to get his mission done. His mission will be done irrespective whether we are part of it or not. It's for us to be part of it, for us to be that chosen one, if we have that opportunity to realize it and then make use of the golden thing, because we are contemporaries of the avatar. Right? Because Bhagavan shows us. I have kind of gone through that thought process in some of these chapters in this book as well. What Bhagavan has said about that. When one of the devotees had mentioned, Swami, we are so blessed that, we have done so many good deeds, and because of which you have chosen us to be your contemporary. Bhagavan said, no. You think you are here in front of me to witness the Lord in action because of your good deeds? Swami said, no. It's because I willed that for this to happen, for me and you to be in this earth at the same point in time. It's not because of your good deeds at all. So there's several such incidents and several such teachings from me myself as a first place, and what I could really share with each one of the readers is what this is capsule in this whole book. So just going back to that trail of thought where I had put this 400 pages together, then my next thought was, what else can I offer to Bhagavan? Right? Because whatever you offer is going to be incomplete. Not because it's small in front of Bhagavan, not that, because there's nothing which belongs to us. Whatever we think belongs to us is actually not us. We are all just custodians of something in this world. That's all. We are all just custodians. So in which case, what is it that you can really offer which is yours to Bhagavan? You want to say love? If that's the answer, even Swami says, even that is not your property. That is also my property, which we borrow from him and then we offer it back to him. So to that beautiful, magnificent Lord, what else can you offer? So Bhagavan had blessed me to learn violin from the legend Srila Guru Jayaraman. I've also discussed that journey in this book of how beautifully, indirectly, he sowed the seed in me to learn music, move from Bangalore to Chennai, learn from a legend, only to be absorbed by him completely within his beautiful fold in Palti, and for me to play only for Bhagavan. So with that same trail of thought, I said, okay, why don't we add a bhajan at the end of every chapter? So, and these are not bhajans which have been composed by me at all. Please, I'm not a composer at all, but I've just taken the bhajans which all of us know, which is very well sung in our centers. I've played violin, an instrumental part of it in the bhajan. Not in the bhajan style, but in a more of a free-flowing style. So every bhajan would probably be about 1.5 minutes or 2 at max. I've also added that at the end of every chapter. And in fact, in Palti, they were kind enough to include that as part of the book. So in fact, if you open the first few pages, you would see a QR code, which you see here. So if you scan your phone, your camera on this QR code, it will take you to a web link where you could access all the 90 songs which have been played by this instrument. How did 96 become 90? Because I had initially written 96 chapters. How did it become 90? That's Swami's way of making things happen. But when I kind of think about it, it has a beautiful connotation for myself, because as I said, my initial thought is, okay, I'll release it as a blog from Swami's 95th birthday to Swami's 96th birthday. So last year, November 23rd to this year's November 23rd. But then I'd also mentioned that I wanted to serve Swami from his 90th birthday. the review committee in Patti, the book publication trust, they went through all the 400 plus pages which I had written, and then they decided to eliminate 5 or 6 chapters based on the rules which they have in publishing and printing the books. So when they did ask me, hey, this book is written kind of a blog. I said, absolutely, this is not a book. This is just a blog. And but then it just came together as a book. I don't know how. You should ask the author, who is Bhagwan himself. So after playing all the violin bhajans last year, then I decided that I wanted to offer this to Bhagwan on Swami's birthday, November 23rd. So in between all these things, I forgot to mention the most important thing, which has been happening everyone around here, the pandemic, right? So I lost my job. The pandemic started. In fact, we fell sick too at the same time. And here we were, not knowing what to do. And then I was sitting and writing this book with no job interviews, nothing in hand. But Swami took this opportunity to make me realize how blessed I was as a child of his. So I went to Patti for Swami's birthday. I had copied this entire thing in a digital drive, and then I wanted to go and offer it to Swami in Patti on Swami's birthday, and then release it as a blog from November 23rd onwards. But I had scheduled it for 2 chapters to be released every week through the platform. I'd also mixed an audio and video files, so to be attached at the end of every blog, and that was uploaded on YouTube. I had scheduled all the 96 videos and audio to be released also for the next 1 year, with all the dates worked out. I'd done everything perfectly planned. I thought, I was in control. Just at the time when you think you're in control, Bhagwan will make you realize, who are you? Are you in control? You are not in control. We believe that we are in control, but certainly we are not in control. So I went to Patti. I was in the radio side, meeting people and then seeing how we could help them with some of their projects. And then somebody said, hey, why don't you go and ask the Books and Publication Trust if they would be interested in publishing this as a book? Then I laughed at him. I laughed at myself for that idea, because as I said, I'm not a writer, right? So if somebody says, hey, why don't you go and publish it as a book? It was certainly a biggest joke for me at that point of time. But whatever, Swami just made it happen. So he took me to the Books and Publication Trust and then made the introduction. And then I handed over the manuscript to them. They said, leave it with us for a couple of weeks, but, since you want us to look at it, you cannot publish it online. Since, once you give us the rights, then the copyrights are retained with them, and they have the rights to release it the way they want, digital or hard copy basis. So I said, okay. But still, I was lucky to keep the digital copy of this in Swami's Yajur Mandir, have it blessed on his birthday. And as far as I was concerned, my job was over, because I wanted to offer it to Bhagwan. Bhagwan wanted me to relive each and every incident, go back to that learning, understand what he was trying to tell me. And for sometimes our thick skulls, it's so hard for things to get inside, right? We have to be told 100 times over and over and again. And imagine when the Lord himself comes down and then uses such simple words to teach us, and still we have struggle. Who are we to teach others? We are no one. Anyway, so when I went to Patti, then I came back. On Swami's birthday, after I handed it over, the next day in Patti, I get a call from a company. They conducted an interview and I got the job. The very next day. Have I applied for this company? No. it made me realize that, Swami gave this phase of life for me to realize, hey, listen, you have a crisis, you have an opportunity. How do you want to look at it? You want to look at it as a crisis, you can blame everyone in life, and then you can go down that path. You want to look at it as an opportunity because the world is big. There's so much for you to do beyond your job. There's so much for you to achieve. There's so much for you to know how blessed you are. You have 2 hands, 2 legs. You're blessed with such beautiful people around us, being the right satsang, listening to the Lord's name, singing his bhajans, playing for his glory, reading good things and doing everything we can, respecting nature, respecting everything which the Lord has given. Aren't these blessings? How many times have we really seen them? How many times have we really thought about it and then, thanked God for giving us such beautiful things? We don't do it, unfortunately, many times, because sometimes we take things for granted. So in this phase of life, when it could have been one of the most challenging for anyone, it ended up being one of the best periods of my life, because Bhagwan made it so happen. And then he made me realize that I was in no way in control of anything. Now, why did I lose my job? I don't know. Why did Bhagwan made me go through this experience? It's just for me to realize, what is it that I have to do for me to go and reconnect back to my source. So, and the way he gave me a job right the next day after I had surrendered this whole thing at his lotus feet, made me very clearly understand, Bhagavan, it was completely his doing. There's no other better way for me to put this, rather than saying it's completely his way of doing, nothing else. It's magical, trust me. This whole experience for me was magical. Then I came back, and then after a few weeks after that, the trust, they came back with saying that, they'd love to publish it as a book. They said, okay. And then 1 volume became 2 volumes. And then they said, for the first time, we're going to introduce music and a book together, which has never been done in Bhakti. I was just witnessing all these things happening, right? I was just witnessing all these things happening to somebody called Bala. That's all. It's because I understand the moment we think, oh, I'm Bala Parasurman and I'm doing this and I have done this, and people are sitting and talking about this, trust me, we'll get crushed like a hot potato. But the moment you put yourself away from that subject and realize, okay, what's happening to this individual called Bala Parasurman, and then you see everything which is happening, then you understand how glorious things are. And in each one of our lives, trust me, the moment we do that, we understand how blessed we are to be a contemporary of the Bhagavan. Right? So then the first 6 months of this year was spent in editing this book, going through it, making the changes. Then Guru Purnima comes. And then in Patti, they said, why don't we are going to release it on Guru Purnima. And all of us know in Patti, they were not allowing anyone to sit inside Mandir for Bhajans or for Vedam. So the Books and Publication Trust convener, Mr. Varadarajan, told me, we would like to release it on Guru Purnima Day, but we don't know if we are going to have a function because, things are changed. It's pandemic times. Plus nobody's allowed inside. So he said, what do you want to do? I said, I'm going to come. So Vidya and I are going to come there. And he said, but nobody's allowed inside. I said, that's okay. We're just going to come there. If nobody allows us inside, it's okay. We will stand at the entrance of Prashanti Nilayam, pray to Swami, put in our efforts. That's all Bhagavan asks from us. Nothing beyond that. He says, you take 1 step towards me, I'll take 100 steps towards you. Trust me, these are not just words from Bhagavan. I urge each one of you to think about every statement which Bhagavan has said, because it's got a very deep meaning. And if we do that first step, He will take not just 100, he'll take 1,000 steps towards us. He'll make things happen. So we went to Bhakti. The day before Guru Purnima, still nothing was finalized. And the day before Guru Purnima, in the evening, they made the announcement saying that from tomorrow morning, we will allow devotees to sit inside Mandir only on special days, which means only on Guru Purnima. That announcement came out in the evening just before Guru Purnima, the day before Guru Purnima. And then Mr. Valdarajan was a convener, and he said, I still don't know what's the program for tomorrow, which is on Guru Purnima day, because it's never been done. I said, that's okay, no problem. What do you want me to? Can I get these books? We should not get these books. I don't know what was your the dictum from the trust. I'm not happy to follow it. So the morning function got over, and then in the afternoon, he called me and said, in the afternoon, we have realized we've discussed and we want to release it in front of Swami. I said, okay. So we sat there for the afternoon session, and then Bhajan started. I still didn't have any word. And then finally, he called me, and then we went in front of Bhagavan, and the books were released. For me, November 23rd last year, when I gave it to Bhagavan, my job was done. The rest, I left it entirely for him to do the way he wanted it to be done. So in that beautiful way, he made me realize that all these things that we are just a speck, and all we have to do is just surrender. He will do it. And all we have to do is just witness that and be immersed in his love. Once you immerse yourself in his love, trust me, there's nothing in this world which you cannot manage. There's nothing in this world, because it gives you the strength of almost 1,000 elephants, right? And when I went through each one of these incidents, this has been narrated from the eyes of a student, the eyes of a person who's been witnessing Swami's love, and the exuberance which that entire place created for each one of that incident when it happened over and over again, and how Bhagavan made it special, how Bhagavan made it completely special all through. Bliss, happiness, all these are lovely words which we try to understand to the best of our extent by going through what scholars have said, what Bhagavan has said, and try to think, okay, these are English words which put together. We know what it means, but we really don't know what it means unless until we experience it, right? I realized what was bliss, because last year when I started sitting and going through each one of these incidents in my head, everything was being played out like a video, as if it was just happening at that right very moment. That is bliss, because it never dies. It's always there. It always lives with you till your memory is there, right? Till you continue to have this mind of yours, this heart of yours. You're able to go and witness and relive that entire memory, that bliss. Whatever is captured in that so-called quote unquote bliss will always live with you, and then you'll be able to experience it completely without any doubt. You'll know it's bliss. And how do I know it's bliss? Because every incident just was replayed like a video in front of my eyes. The feeling, the smell, the ambience, what had happened, what it did to me, what was happening around me. These were all the 25 years back, whatever happened. So I realized that's what is bliss. Can I explain this better? No, I don't know. But that's what this bliss is all about. But anyway, so I really wanted to share these things with each one of you over here, because I wanted to let you know what a beautiful journey it has been for me. Because, this book is my life story. As far as if somebody can ask, if somebody asked me at some point in my, hey, what did you achieve in this life? I can very proudly say I was an instrument of Bhagavan, which made this happen. That I can claim as something. If it's okay with you, I'd like to just take a few minutes to go through one chapter which I've written, just one of my favorite chapters. It's called Sai, my Prana Sakha. The reason why I say this is a very favorite chapter of mine is because Bhagavan told me directly a few words, which is imprinted in my heart so deeply. And it's given me all the strength which I need for lives to come. So I've coined it as Sai, my Prana Sakha, my life breath. I'm not going to go through every line of this chapter, but the sum and substance of this chapter for people who have not read this book. I know Manaramanti has read the book. She was kind enough to give me a call and let me know her thoughts. So this incident happened back in 1995 when I was sitting for darshan and I was a student in my second year of BCom. My parents had come to Vrindavan and to have Swami's darshan. And usually it's my father's habit to collect letters from devotees who wanted to pass on their message to Bhagavan. Now, we all feel the satisfaction if I write a letter to Bhagavan, and Swami will immediately respond. And we have given it to him, right? And Bhagavan says, the moment you start thinking about me and writing, I know what you're writing. You sending the letter, posting it reaching me, those are all just logistics. But the message is already communicated because he works on a different, what do I say, just to put some science behind this, it's not a 3G, 4G or a 5G. He works what I call as an infinite G, infinitely generation kind of a satellite is what he works on, Bhagavan. So he doesn't really wait for the letter to come for him to read it. All the rest is all his maya, on the way he does it and reads it. Oh, I got your letter. I read the first 4 lines. These are all Swami's maya playing. So let's not get fooled by that. Anyway, so my father brought all these letters and he gave it to me and he said, please hand this over to Bhagavan. I dutifully held it with them and, I was sitting for darshan. Swami came for darshan, very beautiful, lovely day. He came for darshan. He walked from the ladies' side. He went to the end of the hall, inside a mish hall. Then he came to the gents' side. I was sitting in the first block on the right-hand side, facing Bhagavan. Swami came to me. He saw the letters in my hand. He asked, whose letters are these? I said, Swami, my friend's letters, Swami. He asked me again, tell me again, whose letters are these? I said, Swami, my friends wrote these letters. I spoke with so much of pride of saying, oh, these are my friends' letters and I'm handing it over to Bhagavan. I'm the kind of a messenger on behalf of them to hand it over to Bhagavan. Swami took the letters. He looked at me very sternly and then he said, then you're not my friend, go. He just mentioned that and he walked away. He didn't stop for a second. It came like a bolt on my head when Swami looks at you and says, then I'm not your friend, you're not my friend, go. I didn't know what to do. I was cornered. I was completely shattered. I was like, what's going on? Because, we know this, if Swami says you're a good boy, whether you're a good boy or not is a different thing altogether. If Swami says you're a good boy, you're a good boy, period. Why? Bhagavan has said, if Swami says you're a bad boy, you are a bad boy. It's very simple. There are no two ways about it. So when Swami, comes to you in front of everyone, tells, I'm not your friend, you're not my friend, go. That's it. If God is not your friend, then there's no reason for you to live this life. There's no reason. See, we all think of Bhagavan as the way we want. He's God, he's my father, he's my mother, he's my very close friend. No, Bhagavan will respond to you the way in which you think. Because Swami says, whatever you see outside, the external is completely a manifestation of what's inside you. That's all. We create a world around in our head. And whatever we create in our head is what we see, and we believe the world. But what is it? It's actually a reflection of what's inside you. And for me, I have seen Bhagavan as always my very close friend, my dear friend, my lovely friend, very close friend. Why? Because I can play pranks with him. I can tell him whatever I want. I can ask him whatever I want. I can disturb him whatever I want. I don't have to think twice. I don't have to think, is God, have I closed my hand? Have I washed my hands? Am I clean enough to go in front of God? No. For friendship, there's nothing. It's pure love. That's it. Simple. So when the Lord comes and tells me on my face, I'm not your friend, go. I was shattered. I didn't know. And you can't just go across and ask Swami, please stop. What did you tell? You can't ask that. You can't get into tribal down and ask Swami, please excuse me. You can't do that. We don't have such kind of liberties over there. So kept praying hard, sitting in a corner. What do I do? How do I ask Bhagavan? How do I ask him for his forgiveness? And first of all, to understand what is it that Bhagavan is trying to tell me. And this is not something which I could discuss with anyone, with my warden or someone to say, hey, this is what Bhagavan said. What do you think he told me? No, this is not. What? Between you and God, nobody can come in between. It's very Swami says, it's a heart-to-heart connection. Nobody can come in between. It's just between you and me, direct contact. That's all, simple. So, but that day in the afternoon, suddenly Swami called for a few students to come inside to clean the storage space behind in Tribe Vrindavan. I was lucky to be chosen as one of them. So I went inside too. The moment I saw Bhagavan, I broke down. I completely broke down. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to even start or have a conversation with Bhagavan, because I saw Swami was just climbing the staircase to go back to his room. There's a wooden staircase on the side of Trai on the left-hand side. So he started walking. I just ran to Bhagavan. I held his leg. I refused to let him go. There were people around me, but I cared less of what was happening around me. I held his feet and I said, Swami, I'm sorry. I don't know what I said. Please forgive me if I told something which is wrong. I don't know anything. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to. Please excuse me. And I was just kept on crying and profusely telling all these things over and over and over and again. Because first, I don't know what mistake I made. I don't know why Bhagavan is angry with me. I don't know why Bhagavan took the letters and then he said, I'm not your friend, go away. What was the message? I mean, when these things are happening, it's so hard for you to distance yourself and understand what is it that Bhagavan actually said. But then, when you think everything is gone, drop dead, right? Swami will pick you up. He'll give his hand. He'll give his beautiful hand. He'll lift you. And then he'll wipe away all your tears as if nothing had happened. Nothing had happened. So I'll just go back to the few lines in this book which I had written. The Swami have written, Swami, with all his motherly love and compassion, immediately lifted me up with his hands and held my fingers. He said something very profound, and I have relived this several times in my life. Swami said, my dear Bangaru, that's the way he addresses us. My dear Bangaru, gold, don't cry. See, I am your friend. I am your only friend. All the others are like passing clouds. They will come and go. God is your only true friend. I will always be with you. He wiped my tears and said, from today, I am you, and you are me. These were the exact words Swami said. And ever since that day, I had the confidence that Swami is my true friend. He then asked me to take his Pada Namaskar and then went upstairs. This incident kind of gave me that stamp on my face, assurance that, who am I? I am Swami's friend. Who's Swami? Swami is my true friend. Do you need anybody else? Of course, we need people around us. Doesn't mean we don't need anyone else, because we have to love everyone. But when the Lord is your friend, what else matters to you? Nothing else matters to you. Then whether you have a job, you lose a job, you have a friend, you lose a friend, you lose your hand, you lose your leg, how does it make a difference? It's okay. It's completely okay. What's important is you holding on to that feeling, that pure love feeling that God is your friend. When the Lord tells you in front of your eyes, let me ask you, what else you need? Do you need any other assurance that He is God? Do you need any other assurance that you're the most blessed child in this universe? I don't need one. Now, this incident happened back in 1995. It stayed with me since then. And every day I pray to God, Swami, give me this opportunity to serve you for all my lives to come, starting from this life. Please give me the opportunity to serve your devotee starting from this life. And I don't forget Sai Gita, because she is one of the most, in Swami's own words, the greatest devotee. So I pray to Sai Gita also, saying, Sai Gita, teach me to be devoted to Bhagavan. So, it's a beautiful journey for me. And that's what has been captured in all these pages. I really hope, whoever would like to read this book, I really hope you also get the same bhava, the same feeling. You also enjoy as much as I did when I wrote this book. Again, for lack of better words, and in our parlance of English, we say, I wrote this book, but I know heart of hearts, I did not write this book. I'm just an instrument through which this book was written. I also want to share, in the interest of time, I know we still have about 6 or 7 minutes left, 1 or 2 very small videos, if I could just share them with you. These are very beautiful videos. One is a video of me playing violin back in 1996 on Christmas program. This happened in Punachandra Auditorium. The caption of this particular thing was called "Blow Your Trumpet." I mean, I've discussed about that in one of the chapters as well. But I love to share the video with you. Just give me 1 quick second as I share my desktop.
Night long I shall
So, yeah, that was one of the lovely opportunities I got back in 96, 97 on Christmas Day. Many of you realize Maynard Ferguson was a very famous Canadian trumpet player and he was one of the Guinness Book record holders also for playing 3 octaves. And he was one of our teachers over there. And we had others, like David Bailey and the rest of them. So various such incidents, various such beautiful memories, lovely incidents, which, you know, really occupied our entire lives. If somebody was asked, they asked me, would you like to go back and relive your college days? I'll 100% say yes, not for studies, because studies was just an excuse, right? To be next to Bhagwan. But to relive that every moment of Bhagwan, of course, yes. Go back and in complete full way in which, whatever way in which, you know, we can make that happen. I just want to be cognizant of the time. It's 5 o'clock. I'll stop here. Thank you very much for each one of you for listening over the last 1 hour. I hope you, as I said, you know, if you want to have copies of these books, I think our friend Kamesh and Prasad will have several copies and we'll be happy to share it with each one of you. And if you need more, you can always buy it from the Central Publication Trust as well, the Books and Publication Trust. I have several copies with me too, and we'll be happy to pass it on. So, Saira, thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Bala. That was wonderful. We were all ears. You know, as you were describing your experiences, I could just imagine Vrindavan and the beautiful atmosphere there. And anytime a student or anyone who has spent extensive time with Swami physically actually writes a book, it's a great service to the rest of us who have not had that opportunity. So it's incredibly wonderful that you know, use the time to the best of your ability and did a great service. This is, of course, from your perspective, it's a great boon to you. From our perspective, it's a great service to the rest of us because we get to live what you lived through. So thanks once again for that. Saira. Now I request Manorama Auntie to share a few thoughts because, as you said, she's the first among us to have completed the 2 volumes, and she's actually rereading the book. So, Manorama Auntie, if you could please share your thoughts, that would be wonderful.
Sai Ram.
Saira, Auntie.
Actually, I depended on Baba what to say, and I'm so much amazed by reading the book. First of all, Bala, I would like to congratulate you and us also. Shall I call you Bala or Violin Boy or Kodu?
Saira Auntie, can I interrupt you for just a moment? Can you please turn your phone or iPad just a little so we can see you?
It is on.
Yeah. We're not able to see your face completely. So maybe just tilt it up a little. Yeah, that's better. Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. Yes. Bala, I will call you Violin Boy because Swami coined that name for you. And reading these 2 parts, like I'm going and seeing through your eyes, and as if I'm really into it, that I'm living my life with your experiences, which I couldn't get it anyway because I was not a student. But in the corner of my heart, I always wished that in my next birth, maybe I can be there for a longer time. Even if I'm reading this, I feel so joyful that it really struck me by your utmost humility and humbling experiences, and especially one incident when you were not a student. I love that. When you wanted to see Baba and Sevadal asked you, "Are you a student?" And you didn't say yes or no. And you got your face in front. If I am you, I would do the same.
Yeah.
Whether it is right or wrong, we don't know. But the urge of having darshan of Swami at a close quarter, it makes you do anything. So I love that incident very much. And then all the description of Trai Vrindavan, as if you are taking us by hand and showing the different parts of Trai Vrindavan, Trai sessions, storeroom, and so on. Nobody so far has done this. And that's why I'm really, really thankful to you that you had taken me for a tour to Vrindavan and Trai. Second part is really wonderful. I mean, everything is so moving that so many times I would just cry, because I don't know how to react otherwise. So I would just still reading and crying. But main thing is that you are so blessed. You are so blessed that Swami has really taken you as a friend. And by the way, when I was reading Pran Sakha, that chapter, I was in tears with you, because I thought that really, if God is not our friend, who could it be in this whole wide world? Because you are going through so many challenges of life, so many experiences of life, and then you feel that only God, only Baba is your true friend. So really, thank you very much. I mean, I thought that I will ask you questions, but after reading these two parts, all my questions ceased. Completely silence. And I got as if all the answers. So I'm not going to take much time to ask you questions. Some other people, if they want to ask, they do. Thank you. And Sairam Bala.
Sairam Auntie. Sairam.
Sairam Bala, Anna.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Rishi.
Sure. So on the note of questions, we do have some questions that have come in from the devotees. Just a second. So first, we had a couple comments which I would like to share. From Sister Bhavna. Swami blessed you by writing through you, and he blessed us by giving us an opportunity to all of us to read and live these experiences vicariously through your books. Ishwari Didi mentions that you are an incredible violin player, Bala. And from Kamesh Garu, Sairam Bala, thank you for taking us on the joyride of giving us this glimpse of these golden days. We are so thankful to Baba to have you in Jersey City Sai Center with us. And we have a couple questions. First, from Suresh Uncle, he had a couple questions. I'll just group them together since they're on a similar topic. Sairam Bala, how did your relationship with Swami change after going down in life when you lost your job? Were you upset with Swami? And during this time, did you get any messages from Swami through other means, such as dreams or signs or any other indications during this time?
Thank you. After I lost my job, it's been part of my prayer to Bhagwan, not just now, but ever since those days when I used to tell Swami, I'm not the doer, you are the doer, I'm only an instrument. But it's one thing to say these words, and it's another thing to actually completely live those words to the extent you believe you can do it. This incident in my life last year when I lost the job made me realize, am I truly the doer? Or am I just an instrument going through this experience and the phase of life? So initially when the incident happened, I was hurt, no question. But then after I had packed up all my things got to do with the job and gave it back, then came back and sat down, that yearning question was that not why did Bhagavan want me to go through this? Why did he let me know? Those were never my questions, because I never questioned Bhagavan on why he does it or not. Because I always know he will always, whatever he does is only for our best. We may not understand. That's a fault in us. But if we use our limited intelligence and so-called tools to analyze Bhagavan, we are the fools. Because we can never sit and analyze Bhagavan or his way of looking at things. So my relationship with Bhagavan actually went back to the thing of connecting to the source and finding it, okay, you keep telling me, when I say you keep, I'm telling myself, I keep telling I'm only an instrument. If I'm only an instrument, why am I hurt now? Why am I questioning? Why am I not going back to the source and then reconnecting and charging that battery and going back and, and saying, okay, what is it that you're blessed with? Start counting your blessings. Every day, if you can start counting your blessings, I'll tell you, my dear friends, you have 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 ears. You have a good looks. You're well read. You're staying in a beautiful house in a country which gives you abundant natural resources. You've got all the best things in life. Aren't these your blessings? If we cannot count each one of them and then be thankful to God, then we are blind. So it made me realize that. It just made me even more stronger. And when I went through this entire 6, 8 months, 9 months, and finally the way Bhagavan gave me the job, made me realize, hey, you went through this because I wanted you to spend time thinking about what you actually have to learn in this life. And now that Swami believes that I have done my job, then he says, okay, here, take your job. Now go run with this. So that's the way. Today I'm sitting in 2021 and then talking about this. Last year, it was a different story. But my relationship with Bhagavan just made it even more stronger. That's why I added that extra prayer to Sai Gita to teach me how to be more devoted to Bhagavan. I mean, that's the way my relationship actually changed, to understand and see how much more we can love him, how much more we can express our gratitude to Bhagavan. As far as getting dreams and thoughts, nothing specific during this particular incident, but honestly, this 8 months, every day sitting and spending those 8 or 9 hours, whatever I did, was entirely his doing, not mine at all. Completely, it's not mine at all. So if you want to call them as messages, the message for me is very clear. Go back, rewind your life, sit down, think through what has happened, what have I told you, what did you experience, and how you have to be a better human being in the world. That's all. What is spirituality at the end of the day? Being a better human being. And if you can put that in your life, that's what life is all about. Simple. Nothing more complicated than that.
Thank you for that wonderful answer. There's a comment from Sister Bhavna, and she says, can the relationship with God change ever? He said, even if you leave me, I will never leave you. So perfectly on those lines. And to conclude the session, there's a question from Bhavna herself. And I think this is a very appropriate question to bring this session to a close. Bhavna asks, Sairam Arna, what are the steps one needs to take to achieve a state of total surrender to become Swami's instrument?
In my limited knowledge, it's very simple. Fall at his feet Don't think anything beyond. That's all. Bhagavan says, no, you have this, either you can read all the books, be more knowledgeable, understand what the Vedas have written and what scriptures have told, try to understand, use your intelligence and get to that point. All very simple, just surrender, fall at his feet, done, simple. Beyond that, don't worry, he will take care. What steps we have to take, don't worry. It's all, in my mind, it's too complicated to go anything beyond that. I ask, let's take a very simple Sai Gita. What did she do? Why I keep going back to Sai Gita is this very simple answer. What did Sai Gita do? For her to yearn that title that Bhagavan is saying she's my greatest devotee. What did Sai Gita do? Single pointed concentration on Bhagavan. Wherever Bhagavan is there, Bhagavan is also not there. I'm here only for Swami. That's all she did. Reading her story. She used to run at Bhagavan. The moment Swami's car used to start in Prashanti Nilayam, she would know. She was closer to our hostel, just right opposite to our hostel, at least 1.5 kilometers away. How did she know? Did somebody come and tell us, Sai Gita, Swami is leaving? No. She'll come and stand outside the gate waiting for Bhagavan's car to come. We will take cue from Sai Gita because we know if Sai Gita has come out, she is going to come out only for Bhagavan. That's the way we used to take cue. But what was Sai Gita's cue? Heart-to-heart connection. That's what Swami says. Heart-to-heart connection. So when it's like radio waves everywhere. If you want to listen to a radio station, you have to tune perfectly to that station. Then automatically the waves will come, the music will play, then you will be in bliss. Same concept. It come back to Bhagavan. You are in complete sync with Lord. You don't have to think about anything else. He will transmit it. You will receive it. Then it will play in your heart. That's it. That's what Sai Gita did. In fact, there was one incident, and sorry, I don't want to take too much time. There's one incident when Swami was leaving to Vrindavan without telling anyone. He had not told anyone at all that he's leaving to Vrindavan. Only Sai Gita knew. How? She refused to leave Bhagavan. When Swami's car was going, she refused to leave. She stopped Swami's car. She kept hitting the trunk. She put her trunk into the window, refused to allow Swami. Swami said, Gita, please leave me. I've got to go. She refused. She never even moved. Not an inch. People are like, what is Sai Gita doing? Then Swami turns back and he has to get down from his car, pat her and tell us, okay, Gita, I will not go to Vrindavan. I'll go back to Prashanti Nilayam. That's when Swami told, look at her. She knows that I was going to Vrindavan. I had not told anyone. And she didn't want to bear that spang of separation and she didn't allow me to go. We were all looking at Bhagavan and saying, what can you say about this divine love? The devotee understands the Lord is telling, I will not go. And then we are all supposed to be students who are supposed to understand language and Sanskrit and English and everything. Going for that Sai Gita come for darshan every day? No. But still she was the greatest devotee. Why? Complete surrender. That's all. Don't do anything beyond that. Beyond that, we can do options at that. But in my limited knowledge, bow to him, say, Bhagavan, I am not the doer, you are the doer. Whatever happens, you take it. Debit, credit, everything goes to you. Simple life, job done. He will take it. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you very much. We were all ears. Now we would all be eyes, and we'll read the book. So just to close this off, we have for the rest of the members, we have about 20 copies with us. If you're interested, please let me or Kamesh know. I think some of you already expressed interest, so we are maintaining a list. We'll come and drop it off, most likely either today or sometime during this week. And if we miss you, please excuse us. Just send me a text or Kamesh a text, and we'll definitely get it across to you. Thank you very much. Sairam Bala, thank you once again. This was such a wonderful experience. And I know we were planning to do this for a long time, but Swami has his own time, and this was just blissful. I don't know how the time has passed. I don't know what the time is. I don't want to know. Thank you once again. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Om. 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 लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन
लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन
लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन
लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन
पार्वती नंदन शुभानना
पार्वती नंदन शुभानना
पार्वती नंदन शुभानना
पार्वती नंदन शुभानना
पशुपति तनया सिद्धि विनायक
पशुपति तनया सिद्धि विनायक
पशुपति तनया सिद्धि विनायक
पशुपति तनया सिद्धि विनायक
प्रणवाकारा शंभो नंदन
प्रणवाकारा शंभो नंदन
प्रणवाकारा शंभो नंदन
प्रणवाकारा शंभो नंदन
पतिपुरीशा पाहि गजानन
पर्तिपुरीशा पाहि गजानन
पतिपुरीशा पाहि गजानन
पर्तिपुरीशा पाहि गजानन
हे शिवनंदन शुभानना
हे शिवनंदन शुभानना
हे शिवनंदन शुभानना
हे शिवनंदन शुभानना
लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन
लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन
पार्वती नंदन शुभानना
पार्वती नंदन शुभानना
पार्वती नंदन शुभानना
पार्वती नंदन शुभानना
पशुपति तनया सिद्धि विनायक
पशुपति तनया सिद्धि विनायक
प्रणवाकार शंभो नंदन
प्रणवाकारा शंभो नंदन
पतिपुरीशा पाहि गजानन
पर्तिपुरीशा पाहि गजानन
हे शिवनंदन शुभानना
हे शिवनंदन शुभानना
हे शिवनंदन शुभानना
हे शिवनंदन शुभानना
लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन
गुरु बाबा गुरु बाबा
गुरु बाबा गुरु बाबा
गुरु बाबा गुरु बाबा
गुरु बाबा गुरु बाबा
चरण नमोस्तुते गुरु बाबा
शरण नमोस्तुते गुरु बाबा
चरण नमोस्तुते गुरु बाबा
शरण नमोस्तुते गुरु बाबा
विद्यादायक गुरु बाबा
विद्यादायक गुरु बाबा
विद्यादायक गुरु बाबा
विद्यादायक गुरु बाबा
शांत स्वरूपा गुरु बाबा
शांत स्वरूपा गुरु बाबा
प्रशांत स्वरूपा गुरु बाबा
शांत स्वरूपा गुरु बाबा
गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
जय गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
जय गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
जय गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
गुरु बाबा गुरु बाबा
गुरु बाबा गुरु बाबा
चरण नमोस्तुते गुरु बाबा
शरण नमोस्तुते गुरु बाबा
विद्यादायक गुरु बाबा
विद्यादायक गुरु बाबा
शांत स्वरूपा गुरु बाबा
शांत स्वरूपा गुरु बाबा
गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
जय गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
जय गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
जय गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
गुरु बाबा गुरु बाबा चरण नमोस्तुते गुरु बाबा
जननी साई देवी दयामयी
जननी साई देवी दयामयी
जननी साई देवी दयामयी
जननी साई देवी दयामयी
जननी मां कृपालिनी मां
जननी मां कृपालिनी मां
जननी मां कृपालिनी मां
जननी मां कृपालिनी मां
तुम हो प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
हो प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
तुम हो प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
हो प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
दया करो सत्य साई मां दया करो
सत्य साई मां
कृपा करो सत्य साई मां
कृपा करो सत्य साई मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी साई देवी दयामयी,
जननी साई देवी दयामयी,
जननी मां कृपालिनी मां,
जननी मां कृपालिनी मां,
तुम हो प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां,
तुम हो प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां,
दया करो सत्य साई मां,
दया करो सत्य साई मां,
कृपा करो सत्य साई मां,
कृपा करो सत्य साई मां,
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां,
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां,
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां,
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां,
जननी साई देवी दयामयी,
जीवन ज्योति तुम हो साई,
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 प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ,
प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ,
प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ,
प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ,
जीवन के इन अंधियारों में साई दीप 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 जलाओ,
साई दीप जलाओ, सत्य 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 साई दीप जलाओ,
प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ,
प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ,
जीवन ज्योति तुम हो साई।
जीवन ज्योति तुम हो साई।
प्रेम की जोत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की जोत जलाओ।
प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ।
जीवन के इन अंधियारों में साई दीप जलाओ।
जीवन के इन अंधियारों में साई दीप जलाओ।
साई दीप जलाओ, सत्य साई दीप जलाओ।
साई दीप जलाओ, सत्य साई दीप जलाओ।
प्रेम की जोत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की जोत जलाओ।
प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ।
प्रेम की जोत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की जोत जलाओ।
प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ साई, प्रेम की ज्योत जलाओ।
जीवन ज्योति तुम हो साई।
हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं।
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 हरि नाम बिना आनंद 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 नहीं।
प्रेम भक्ति बिना उद्धार 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 नहीं।
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं।
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं।
हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं।
हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं।
जप ध्यान बिना संयोग नहीं।
जप ध्यान बिना संयोग नहीं।
प्रभु दर्श बिना प्रज्ञान नहीं।
प्रभु दर्श बिना प्रज्ञान नहीं।
दया धर्म बिना सत्कर्म नहीं।
दया धर्म बिना सत्कर्म नहीं।
भगवान बिना कोई अपना 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 नहीं।
साईनाथ बिना परमात्मा नहीं।
साईनाथ बिना परमात्मा नहीं।
साईनाथ बिना परमात्मा नहीं।
साईनाथ बिना परमात्मा नहीं।
हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं।
हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं।
हरि नाम बिना आनंद
भक्ति बिना उद्धार नहीं,
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं,
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं,
हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं,
हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं,
जप ध्यान बिना संयोग नहीं,
जप ध्यान बिना संयोग नहीं,
प्रभु दर्श बिना प्रज्ञान नहीं,
प्रभु दर्श बिना प्रज्ञान नहीं,
दया धर्म बिना सत्कर्म
दय
नहीं,
धर्म बिना सत्कर्म नहीं,
भगवान बिना कोई अपना नहीं,
भगवान बिना कोई अपना नहीं,
साईनाथ बिना परमात्मा नहीं,
साईनाथ बिना परमात्मा नहीं,
साईनाथ बिना परमात्मा नहीं,
हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं।
दुर्गा भवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
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 काली कपालिनी 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 माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
दुर्गा भवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
दुर्गा भवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
परम शिवानी 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 माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
जगदोधारिणी 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 माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
दुर्गा भवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
दुर्गा भवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
दुर्गा भवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
दुर्गा भवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
परम शिवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
परम शिवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
जगदोदारिणी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
दुर्गा भवानी माँ, जय जय साई माँ।
Hey Pati Puisha Prashanti Vasa Sai Muravi.
हे पत्ति पुरीशा प्रशांति वासा साई मुरारी।
Hey Pati Puisha Prashanti Vasa Sai Muravi.
हे पत्ति पुरीशा प्रशांति वासा साई मुरारी।
Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi.
साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी।
Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi.
साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी।
Hey Pati Puisha Prashanti Vasa Sai Muravi.
हे पत्ति पुरीशा प्रशांति वासा साई मुरारी।
Hey Rishikesha Hidaya Nivasa Hidaya Nivasa.
हे ऋषिकेशा हृदय निवासा हृदय निवासा।
Hey Rishikesha Hidaya Nivasa Hidaya Nivasa.
हे ऋषिकेशा हृदय निवासा हृदय निवासा।
Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi.
साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी।
Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi.
साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी।
Hey Pati Puisha Prashanti Vasa Sai Muravi.
हे पति पुरीशा प्रशांति वासा साई मुरारी।
Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi.
साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी।
Hey Pati Puisha Prashanti Vasa Sai Muravi.
हे पति पुरीशा प्रशांति वासा साई मुरारी।
Hey Rishikesha Hidaya Nivasa Hidaya Nivasa.
हे ऋषिकेशा हृदय निवासा हृदय निवासा।
Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi.
साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी।
Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi, Sai Muravi.
साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी साई मुरारी।
Hey Pati Puisha Prashanti Vasa Sai Muravi.
शंभो महादेव मल्लिकार्जुना
शंभो महादेव मल्लिकार्जुना
शंभो महादेव मल्लिकार्जुना मल्लिकार्जुना
शम्भो महादेव मल्लिकार्जुना
मङ्गलचरणा त्रिलोचना
मङ्गलचरणा त्रिलोचना
मङ्गलचरणा त्रिलोचना
शुभमङ्गलचरणा त्रिलोचना
शम्भो महादेव मल्लिकार्जुना
शम्भो महादेव मल्लिकार्जुना
मङ्गलचरणा त्रिलोचना
शुभमङ्गलचरणा त्रिलोचना
पिनाकपाणि पार्वती रमणा
पिनाकपाणि पार्वती रमणा
पिनाकपाणि पार्वती रमणा
पिनाकपाणि पार्वती रमणा
भवभयहरणा सनातना
भवभयहरणा सनाथना
भवभयहरणा सनातना
भवभयहरणा सनाथना
पार्थिपुरीश्वर पतित पावना
पार्थिपुरीश्वर पतित पावना
पार्थिपुरीश्वर पतित पावना
पार्थिपुरीश्वर पतित पावना
शम्भो महादेव मल्लिकार्जुना
शम्भो महादेव मल्लिकार्जुना
मङ्गलचरणा त्रिलोचना
शुभमङ्गलचरणा त्रिलोचना
पिनाकपाणि पार्वती रमणा
पिनाकपाणि पार्वती रमणा
भवभयहरणा सनातना
भवभयहरणा सनाथना
पार्थिपुरीश्वर पतित पावना
पार्थिपुरीश्वर पतित पावना
पार्थिपुरीश्वर पतित पावना
पार्थिपुरीश्वर पतित पावना
शम्भो महादेव मल्लिकार्जुना
अल्लाह तुम हो, ईश्वर तुम हो, तुम ही हो राम रहीम, तुम ही हो राम रहीम।
अल्लाह तुम हो, ईश्वर तुम हो, तुम ही हो राम रहीम, तुम ही हो राम रहीम।
अल्लाह तुम हो, ईश्वर तुम हो, तुम ही हो राम रहीम, तुम ही हो राम रहीम।
अल्लाह तुम हो, ईश्वर तुम हो, तुम ही हो राम रहीम, तुम ही हो राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम,
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 मेरे राम राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
अल्लाह तुम हो, ईश्वर तुम हो, तुम ही हो राम रहीम। बाबा तुम ही हो राम रहीम।
अल्लाह तुम हो, ईश्वर तुम हो, तुम ही हो राम रहीम। तुम ही हो राम रहीम।
यीशु तुम हो, नानक तुम हो,
यीशु तुम हो, नानक तुम हो।
यीशु तुम हो, नानक तुम हो,
यीशु तुम हो, नानक तुम हो।
ज़ोराष्ट्र भी हो, महावीर तुम हो,
ज़ोराष्ट्र भी हो, महावीर तुम हो।
ज़ोराष्ट्र भी हो, महावीर तुम हो,
ज़ोराष्ट्र भी हो, महावीर तुम हो।
गौतम बुद्ध करीम, गौतम बुद्ध करीम,
गौतम बुद्ध करीम, गौतम बुद्ध करीम।
गौतम बुद्ध करीम, बाबा गौतम बुद्ध करीम।
गौतम बुद्ध करीम, गौतम बुद्ध करीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम,
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम,
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
अल्लाह तुम हो, ईश्वर तुम हो, तुम ही हो राम रहीम, तुम ही हो राम रहीम।
अल्लाह तुम हो, ईश्वर तुम हो, तुम ही हो राम रहीम, तुम ही हो राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम,
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम,
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
यीशु तुम हो, नानक तुम हो,
यीशु तुम हो, नानक तुम हो।
यीशु तुम हो, नानक तुम हो,
यीशु तुम हो, नानक तुम हो।
ज़ोराष्ट्र भी हो, महावीर तुम हो,
ज़ोराष्ट्र भी हो, महावीर तुम हो।
गौतम बुद्ध करीम, गौतम बुद्ध करीम,
गौतम बुद्ध करीम, गौतम बुद्ध करीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम,
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम,
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
मेरे राम राम रहीम,
मेरे राम राम रहीम।
अल्लाह तुम हो, ईश्वर तुम हो, तुम ही हो राम रहीम। बाबा तुम ही हो राम रहीम।
साईं नाम बोलो, सत्य साईं नाम बोलो।
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 जय माधवा जय केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
जय माधवा जय केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
साईं माधवा साईं केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
साईं माधवा साईं केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
अल्लाह ईश्वर ईशा मसीहा,
अल्लाह ईश्वर ईशा मसीहा,
अल्लाह ईश्वर ईशा मसीहा।
अल्लाह ईश्वर ईशा मसीहा।
बुद्ध महावीर नाम,
बुद्ध महावीर नाम,
बुद्ध महावीर नाम।
बुद्ध महावीर नाम।
जय माधवा जय केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
साईं माधवा साईं केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
साईं माधवा साईं केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
साईं माधवा साईं केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
साईं नाम बोलो, सत्य साईं नाम बोलो।
साईं नाम बोलो, सत्य साईं नाम बोलो।
जय माधवा जय केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
जय माधवा जय केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
अल्लाह ईश्वर ईशा मसीहा,
अल्लाह ईश्वर ईशा मसीहा।
बुद्ध महावीर नाम।
बुद्ध महावीर नाम।
जय माधवा जय केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
जय माधवा जय केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
साईं माधवा साईं केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
जय माधवा जय केशवा, श्री हरि नाम बोलो।
साईं नाम बोलो, सत्य साईं नाम बोलो।
राम 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 परम सुमंगल राम राम राम।
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 जननी जानकी जीवन राम।
जननी जानकी जीवन राम।
जननी
तु रामा
जय जय राम जानकी राम जयतु राम
जय जय राम जानकी राम जयतु रामा
परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
जय परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
जय परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
जय परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
राम राम राम परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
राम राम परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
जननी जानकी जीवन राम
जननी जानकी जीवन राम
जय जय राम जानकी राम जयतु राम
जय जय राम जानकी राम जयतु राम
परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
जय परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
जय परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
जय परम सुमंगल राम राम राम
राम राम राम परम सुमंगल राम राम
राम
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
भज कृष्ण गोपाल भजो भजो रे
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 भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
यदुनंद गोपाल भजो रे
नंद गोपाल भजो रे
यदुनंद गोपाल भजो रे
यदुनंद गोपाल भजो रे
मुकुंद गोपाल भजो रे
मुकुंद गोपाल भजो रे
मुकुंद गोपाल भजो रे
मुकुंद गोपाल भजो रे
भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम भज 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 रे
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
भज कृष्ण गोपाल भजो भजो रे
भज कृष्ण गोपाल भजो भजो रे
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल
यदुनंद गोपाल भजो रे
नंद गोपाल भजो रे,
मुकुंद गोपाल भजो रे,
मुकुंद गोपाल भजो रे,
भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम भज 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 रे,
भज मन कृष्ण गोपाल।
वाहे गुरु जी बोलो,
वाहे गुरु जी बोलो,
वाहे गुरु जी बोलो,
वाहे गुरु जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए तेरे नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य जपिए तेरे नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
राम जी बोलो,
राम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम 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 जी बोलो,
कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो,
कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए कृष्ण नाम 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 जी बोलो,
वाहे गुरु जी बोलो,
वाहे गुरु जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए तेरे नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य जपिए तेरे नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो,
राम जी बोलो,
राम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम जी बोलो,
कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो,
कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए कृष्ण नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए कृष्ण नाम जी बोलो,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय,
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय,
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय,
वाहे गुरु जी बोलो।
गोविंद कृष्ण जय गोपाल कृष्ण जय गोपाल बाल बाल राधा कृष्ण जय गोविंद कृष्ण जय गोपाल गोविंद कृष्ण जय गोपाल कृष्ण जय गोपाल बाल बाल राधा कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण 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 जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण 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 जय कमाल हारी प्यारी माई मीरा मदन मोहन मुरलीधर कृष्ण जय कमाल हारी प्यारी माई मीरा मन विहार मदन मोहन मुरलीधर कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण 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 जय कृष्ण जय राम कृष्ण जय राधा कृष्ण जय बाला कृष्ण 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 जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण 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 जय गोविंद कृष्ण जय गोपाल कृष्ण जय गोपाल बाल बाल कृष्ण जय गोविंद कृष्ण जय गोपाल कृष्ण जय गोपाल बाल
ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद बांधव ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता गुरुदेवमु मरियंतयु नीवे स्वामी मरियंतयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्राशयना ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी ओ साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल हारति अंधुकुम मंगल हारति अंधुकुम मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Om Jai Sadguru Deva Sai Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadguru Deva Sai Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadguru Deva Om Shanti 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 Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Jai Bolo Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba Ji Ki Jai Paramam Pavitram Baba Vibhutim Paramam Vichitram Leela Vibhutim Paramatishthata Moksha Pradhanam Baba Vibhutim Idamashrayami Leela Vibhutim Idamashrayami Sacred ash miraculous Baba's creation flowing from his blessed hands, holy creation, granting us the greatest wealth, God's divine protection. Beloved Baba, grant us liberation. Beloved Baba, grant us liberation. Lavedadi elamo brotan de tu palma, como el brillo del sol, ilumina el alma, siempre dando a la vida nuestras esperanzas. Bríndanos tu gracia, dulce Sai Baba. Bríndanos tu gracia, dulce Sai Baba. Oh, oh, oh. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhinaha Aham Vaishvanaro bhutva Praninam deham ashritaha Pranapana samayuktaha Pachamyannam chaturvidam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
సమ్యక్ వాక్.
Thereafter, samyak vak, good word.
వాక్ ఒకటిగానే ఉంటుండాలి.
We should speak only one.
ఇది ఉద్వేగంగా ఉండకూడదు.
It should not be agitated.
అసత్యంగా ఉండకూడదు,
It should not be lying
అన్యాయంగా ఉండకూడదు,
or injustice
అక్రమంగా ఉండకూడదు,
or improper.
హింసగా ఉండకూడదు.
It should not be violent.
అనుద్వేగకరం వాక్యం సత్యం ప్రీతి హితం చేత్ అన్నారు.
Whatever we speak should not be agitating. It should not be disturbing. It should be so pleasing, comforting and sweet.
మన వాక్కు హితంగాను ప్రీతిగాను ఉద్వేగం లేకుండాను ఉండాలి.
Whatever we say have got to be pleasing, so soft, delicate and sweet and acceptable and
You
palatable.
cannot always oblige, but you can speak always obligingly.
You cannot always oblige, but you can speak obligingly.
కనుకనే సమ్యక్ వాక్కు అన్నాడు.
Good word is prescribed.
పవిత్రమైన వాక్కు కంటే మించినటువంటి దైవత్వం వేరొకటి లేదు.
The sacred talk is the divinity.
ఈ వాక్కే శబ్ద బ్రహ్మము.
This sound verily is divine.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Invoking the divine blessings of our most beloved Bhagwan, Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Thank you to Bala, Parasurman, Anna for such an enlightening session today, and thank you all for joining the same. The next Unity Bhajans will be held on Thursday, October 22nd, 2021 from 7th, October 21st, I stand corrected. The next Unity Bhajans will be on Thursday, October 21st, 2021 from 7:30 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on bhajanbliss.com. This will be a special session in celebration of Shri Sathya Sai Avatar Declaration Day. If you would like to lead a bhajan, please sign up at bit.ly/Unity Bhajans. The deadline is Wednesday at 9 p.m. for sign up. With that, hope you're all well, safe, and experiencing the divine bliss of our most beloved Bhagwan's presence wherever you are. Jai Sai Ram.
Also, Rusi.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय.